Welcome to Level Up Chips, Knights of the Old Republic 2, the Sith Lords. Hello everyone, and welcome back to another lovely episode of Level Up Chips. This is the second episode, and I am your host, Mike Gonzalez, with your lovely co-host, Max Logan.
Hi, I have kind of a sore throat. I woke up with one, but whatever, let's just do this.
Hey, listen, if you have a sore throat, our roommate, Nathaniel Pappas, got us Vernors, and we can definitely be using that for remedy.
Yeah, I drank some root beer earlier, so that works.
No. You don't get root beer to fix a remedy. You get that Vernors. That stuff is gonna burn anything that's giving you all sorts of crap. It'll wash it all away.
I don't know. Maybe I'll buy some ginger on the way home and just.
You are spitting on the face of Michigan right now. Okay.
Yeah, no. I'll probably have some. But anyway, back to video games. How about we start with news that has occurred in the past week?
Yeah, no, I'd love to talk about the news of the week, and it's actually, I've only got two stories, but I think that these ones are going to be fairly big for this week, just because the first one is definitely one that a lot of people have played. It's about Stardew Valley and the creator of that. Basically, everybody knows about how there have been these free updates that have been just being cranked out throughout the years since it came out, and these have been fantastic ones. These updates have been like multiplayer, adding like new different like variations to things, like, you know, for the farming, and even just adding like mods in a certain way for that multiplayer mode. And I think that's great, but the biggest thing is I'm probably going to butcher this name, Eric Barone? I think that it is Eric Barone.
So.
He's the creator, and he's actually focusing on a new game that has not been disclosed on what it is, but because of that, he's going to be stepping away from all of those updates. And I will say, I'm very sad to see that happen because, like I said, everybody, it seems like, has played Stardew Valley one way or another. It's the Harvest Moon of this generation. But it's so much better in a certain way. Oh.
Yeah, that's a whole nother topic. But
What was your experience with Stardew Valley?
I mean, I played like a few months of it. Or, you know, in-game months.
Yeah. So, but, yeah.
Because it's not real time, thank God. So, I was able to kind of just take my time. I mean, it didn't feel great starting out in spring and having no one liked me for the dance thing.
Listen.
So I just had to stand off to the side.
No, I it's a weird time. It's a weird time when you do start that. I will say it's not the greatest in my experience when you do it by yourself. I will say if you have someone who's played it before and you do multiplayer, like my brother and I, I got the game. I didn't really care for it, and then the multiplayer update came around, and all of a sudden we had our own farm. We had all of our own little like things that we were doing. I was the fisherman, and he was the one who was actually doing like the dungeons and farming and actually giving us the money to do all this stuff and my fishing.
Right.
So I was kind of the stay at lake fish guy. And it was a lot of fun. I remember thinking like, oh my gosh, now I understand the hype for Stardew Valley, and I totally get why it may not have clicked with you. There's a lot to do, but I will say it's a sad thing that these updates aren't coming out. At the same time, these updates have done so much to make this game so much better than it was, and it was already like a damn near perfect game.
Yeah, I can agree with that.
Now the second news part of this week is going to be talking about the Apple court case against Epic. I'm not sure if a lot of people are familiar, but do you think you could catch us up on that?
Oh yes. So what was it? Like a year, 2 years ago?
I want to say it was 2 years ago at this
Yeah.
point.
If I remember correctly, it was 2019. But Epic Games, because they put Fortnite on the App Store, that's a distant memory.
Oh, Fortnite.
And for an update, they decided to put in a third-party payment option for players if they wanted to, use microtransactions.
Like the battle passes, all the skins, stuff like that.
V-Bucks.
V-Bucks.
Yep, that's the thing you buy things with. But anyway, so this violated Apple's terms of service because at the time you could only purchase any like microtransactions in an app through the App Store.
So Apple was very, very upset. They basically took down Fortnite for a bit, and all of a sudden Epic was like, okay, let's go to court about this. And this is the big news. Epic actually won this court case against Apple. The judge actually made it so Apple has to loosen up on its grip on some of these developers, which should be saving a lot of these developers, billions of dollars, because I'm not sure if this was mentioned, the microtransactions, the stuff that was like put onto the Apple Store. Apple got a good cut.
They get a cut of each transaction.
Every single transaction so basically with this loosening of the grip, all of a sudden Epic is potentially getting all that money back. So it's going to be a huge time for these App Store developers. We'll have to see where it goes, if there might be an appeal for this case, because I'm going to take a guess and say there is going to be an appeal some way or another.
It was Epic Games who sued Apple.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Apple would have to create a whole new case against them, as opposed to Epic appealing for...
That's true. You're right.
For looser conditions.
So, in a certain way, we'll have to see if Apple is even willing to put the time and money into this. Who knows? Maybe they will. Maybe they won't. But at the moment, all we know is Apple is getting just a little bit less of a grip and a little bit less money because of Epic. So, in a certain way, to all the indie developers and all the people who wanted those microtransactions, all to themselves, go ahead, say thank you to Epic. I wish that we had a little bit more of like a impact on this, like if it was big for us, but
chances are they'll just Apple just make it inconvenient for you to use a third-party payment option, but
okay, like,
but they won't make it impossible. They'll just make it like, oh, well, I might as well use the App Store.
No, but now I'm curious, if we are going to have an impact on this, if this is going to be a big thing for us, have you ever wanted to get an App Store, like an app on the App Store, try to make money off of it? Like, I'm thinking like a cookie cutter game.
Mm-hmm.
Like, would you...
Cookie Clicker?
Cookie Clicker.
Yes.
Yes, that's it. That's the right one.
Mm-hmm.
I want to make one of those and then make it so, like, if you pay like $5, you get like 100,000 clicks on that cookie. I'd be making bank.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe I don't think I'm willing to sacrifice my integrity for money that much.
Hey, come on, man. It's not about the integrity. It's about the money. That's what everybody talks about. Haven't you heard the songs?
Oh, I'm not going to fall to late stage capitalism. I'm sorry.
All right. Sucks to suck. Anyway. That's all the news that I had for this week. But I was thinking that we could get a little bit more into the meat of the story, which is all about the PlayStation Showcase that happened this past Thursday.
Yep.
Wow. That's all I want to say at first. Wow. I was really happy with it. personally, even though they had a lot of those little teasers, all those CGI trailers that just maybe wouldn't show what the actual gameplay is like. No matter what, knowing that some of these games that were announced, I was extremely excited. But we have a list here of all the games that I think were, like, worth mentioning. And Max, I was thinking that if you could look at the list and say, what are you most excited for that isn't the one that we talked about before?
Oh, yeah. So to start things out with, I don't know. Sorry, I got off my work shift and I'm tired. I was doing dishes. It was horrible. But anyway, so first we got the Knights of the Old Republic remake, developed by, what was the company's name?
So it's gonna have the Lucasfilms studios back, and if I'm not mistaken, it should be that Aspyr.
Yeah, Aspyr, that's the one.
Which I was very shocked about, and in a certain way, I'm just a little concerned about how that's gonna go. Just because they have been doing a lot of these remasters of the old Star Wars games. Like, I'm talking all the pod racing games, the Jedi Outcast, Jedi Academy, all those Jedi Knight games that are getting on Switch, even Republic Commando. Those games have been going through Aspyr, and in a certain way, some of them can be really, like, fantastic in terms of optimization. At other points, like Republic Commando
on the Switch.
Oh my gosh, I don't know what happened, but I was able to beat it, thank God, because I knew the game. Otherwise, there were a lot of points where the frame rate was just absolute
garbage.
Crap. It was bad. It was really bad, where it was like 20 frames, and I was like, whoa, what is going on? Especially since this is like a 2005, 2006 game.
Right, yeah. I mean, they'll probably have some, considering, no, EA doesn't have exclusive rights to Star Wars games anymore.
Nope.
So, yeah, I'm thinking that considering it's a remake, they'll probably, and it's on the PS5 on top of that. Also PC. PS5 and PC. I think that it'll be well optimized.
You know, actually, a thought did actually occur to me. The previous, like, remasters for Academy and Outcast, those were actually really great, with a few hiccups. And I'm wondering if they actually had the rights to actually do that remake at that time. Because if they didn't, more than likely maybe a team, like a large chunk of Aspyr, was actually working on those remasters. And maybe if they actually did get the remakes, that Republic Commando remaster
got less work.
It got less work. It was just recent.
Right.
So that could always be a thing where they are putting like a good 80% of the workers onto the KOTOR remake. And if that's the case, then
that makes sense.
I haven't seen enough. I mean, it was all a CGI trailer. In a certain way, this is all like speculation. I'm a little skeptical on like how it's going, but again, it's 100% speculation on my part. Otherwise, this game is great. I have played through KOTOR a little bit, and I loved it. My brother, he played through it. It has it has the most lore in terms of Star Wars, because it's in the Old Republic era, which is, I feel like thousands. I think it's thousands of years before the prequels.
Yeah, it's if I remember correctly, it's like it's like 1,000 years before the first prequel movie.
It was wild, something like that. And I'm excited just to see what that is going to be like. But why don't we get into another game that was announced? And this one I'm not sure how much Max is actually excited for this one, but me, I am like 100% all for it. It's this game called Ghostwire Tokyo.
Yep. Yeah, this is a game revealed, like, again, 2 years ago.
2 years ago, maybe even 3.
Yeah.
This is a Bethesda game.
Yeah, and they didn't really say anything about it until yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
And now they have a gameplay trailer out. It actually looks pretty cool.
It looks really neat. In a certain way, the biggest thing that really caught my attention when looking at it was the fact that a lot of the enemies almost seem like those creepy pasta style enemies, or even just like demons, ghosts, stuff like that, where it looks a lot like what the Japanese horror scene kind of looks like.
Yeah,
where
I can see that.
It's, like the Ring Girls, something like that, where, it's just kind of like spooky-ish,
Yeah, it's like
I just realized that's exactly what that one girl that was on she was talking about Ghostwire. God, I am really blinking out, and I feel really bad for the audience because these are terrible descriptions. But there was this one person, and there was a whole meme about how this person was talking about how the game's spooky and everything, and she had like all sorts of like energy in her presentation at Bethesda.
Oh, her.
Yes, that's exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah, the Japanese woman. Right?
Yes, exactly. And I remember thinking, like, who is this?
I think she just recently got onto Twitter, and I'm just hoping it doesn't become another Hideki Naganuma situation.
No. I've seen a little bit of her, like, on Twitter, and she is much more stable. So thank God for that. Otherwise, Ghostwire Tokyo, it looks scary, it looks spooky, and these are the same people in Bethesda, because they are a publishing house. This is a developing team who made Evil Within.
Yep.
And it's going to also have the Resident Evil creator or lead developer Shinji Mikami, who also was a part of Evil Within. I'm really excited to see how this goes, because usually when he's a part of the work, it just goes really well. Like,
yeah,
Resident
usually.
Evil 1, I love Beyond All Death. It is just fantastic as a game.
Mm-hmm.
So in a certain way, just seeing the Tokyo, streets and everything, going through the seeing all those ghosts, doing all the hand motions, you really have to see what I'm talking about, because it makes no sense. But I'm excited. I'm 100% excited for what this game is going to be like. But on this list, do you have any other games that you are absolutely excited about?
Let's see here. So, they actually teased 2 Marvel games. Actually, was it 3 or 2?
We skipped through this, but they did have the Guardians of the Galaxy game.
Oh yes.
So it was 3.
Yeah, they showed more of Guardians of the Galaxy. Neither of us really care too much about it.
No, for people who don't know, during the E3 week, Square Enix had their own showcase, and it was, I want to say it was like 36 minutes long, or like 40 minutes long.
Of just Guardians of the Galaxy stuff.
No. I kid you not. It was like 20 minutes of Guardians of the Galaxy, and the rest of it was just small little things that they barely talked about.
Mm-hmm.
So, in a certain way, I was fed up with Guardians of the Galaxy. It looks good. It looks neat. At the same time, they need to shut up about it, because I get it. It's a Guardians of the Galaxy game. How much more do I need to hear about it? It's going to be fun and, kooky.
Yeah. But the other 2 games, which they only teased, were Marvel's Wolverine and Spider-Man 2.
And these are actually both made by Insomniac. Which, I gotta say, I am absolutely amazed that they have been able to keep up on this next gen. That's the biggest thing that I have been very shocked about, because not only have they created Miles Morales for the launch of the PS5, they also got in Ratchet and Clank Rift
Apart.
Rift Apart. Okay, I want to say Rift Apart in Time or something like that. Rift Apart.
Yeah, you just got a little bit close to Crash Bandicoot for a second.
Listen, man, a lot of these like animal platformer types.
2000, like 90s and 2000s animal mascots.
It's been wild
with attitude.
It's been wild with attitude. It's fun, and I'm very shocked because I love their Spider-Man games. These are probably my favorite superhero games that have come out, even more so, surprisingly, than the Arkham games for Batman. Spider-Man 1, oh my gosh, that blew me away. I was very shocked at how fantastic that gameplay was, and Miles Morales was able to keep up with that pace. It was a smaller game, but it was one that I was able to platinum, actually.
Yeah, I platinumed the first game as well.
And that one, it was too big for me. I looked at it, I was like, nah, I don't want to do that. The smaller map is like much better.
It's kind of like Ghost of Tsushima for me, where it's just kind of, an easy, like, casual platinum.
Oh, but even then, like, Ghost of Tsushima, that one's much more, to me, it's more cinematic. And for that, I'm like, okay, I'm cool with that. It's still a collectathon, but it's cool. But with Spider-Man 1, come on, it was all just a collectathon.
I was just like, pick up things as I went along to places, and by the end of the game, I had everything. So
personally, I just didn't feel the incentive.
Yeah.
But that's just me in a certain way. But otherwise, with like Miles Morales, it was a small enough map where I said, okay, I got the time. I love this game. Let's do this. And I loved every second of it. It was fantastic. And seeing the Spider-Man 2, holy crap, that looks fantastic too. Especially because they kind of had this huge reveal that Venom is going to be the big bad guy.
And the other villain is supposedly Kraven the Hunter, but we don't know
Kraven.
He's like a hunter. He's one of Spider-Man's like big villains, and he's all like, well, I need to be challenged, so I'll hunt the Spider-Man. It's that's pretty much like the gist of his conflict with Peter Parker.
I'm just thinking, like, if there is like a Predator style villain, and then he's just like, the Spider-Man, I shall take him. It'd be like having a regular ass Predator and being like, that spider on the wall, he is my greatest foe.
Yeah, no. Now just like imagine he has a Russian accent, and he kind of looks like Clayton from Tarzan.
Seriously?
Yeah, sort of. Like it's kind of, it's a little bit weird, but he's a cool villain.
No matter what, in a certain way, I'm just super excited because I think this is like really the first time I've seen Venom and Spider-Man like together since like Spider-Man 3, the Sam Raimi movie, and in a certain way, I don't really want to see that as that's the Spider-Man and Venom I know, you know.
I don't know. Maybe in this new game there'll be a point where Venom becomes like kind of like friendly, and then he's just like,
who knows? Maybe Carnage will come around.
He's just like a force of chaotic neutralness.
Maybe Carnage will come around and they're like, okay, let's just work together to take care of that guy, because
he's a bigger problem.
He is scary. Wow.
He's you, but red.
I was going to say, if Carnage is going to be a part of the game, I know for a fact the ESRB rating is going to be rated M. It has to be rated M because Carnage is Carnage.
Yeah, it's a bit
much.
Yes. So that ends our segment on those games because, again, they were teaser trailers. There's not really much to talk about.
Still, these are super fun things. I love those games. I love Spider-Man. It's been one of those things where, I don't know if I've told you, but when I was a kid, when I was like 3, I used to watch Spider-Man 1, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man 1,
Mm-hmm.
on repeat. Straight up, I don't remember any of this, but pretty much if it ended, I'd start bawling my eyes out. And then as soon as it came on, I was like, yeah, Spider-Man.
Hmm.
So it's been like a thing of mine that I love. So
Interesting.
I'm excited beyond all hell. But I was thinking that we should talk about a game that PlayStation and Bethesda have been really egging us on to actually get, even though even in the newest trailer that they had, they still made fun of the fact that nobody knows exactly what it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
It's this game called Deathloop. And I mentioned the fact that they make fun of the fact that people don't know about it is because I remember there were just all sorts of voices going on through Deathloop. And it was like, what is this game? What is it even about? What's going on? Is it like a roguelite? And they didn't answer any of those questions in the trailer. I remember that. I was like, why did you even put that in there? That's the worst advertising I could have seen.
Yeah, but so
Let me just say, first of all, they've already had a showcase for Deathloop, and still I'm in a certain way I'm like, I gotta play it to actually understand what's going on.
yeah, I can understand that honestly. But for those who don't know, from what we can gather from the somewhat vague trailers, there are a bunch of people on an island that's constantly in a time loop. So it's like Groundhog Day, but everyone's in on it.
And pretty much you're this hitman.
And you need to go through and find a way out of the time loop or the death loop.
So basically, it looks like the goal is, yeah, you have to get out of that death loop. And basically, what you also have to do, you have to kill 8 different targets consecutively. If you die, you have to go through all 8 of those targets again.
Hmm.
So it's Groundhog's Day. But if you were like, I don't know, Agent 47 and Hitman,
Yeah.
and I'm excited for that in a certain way. I am curious to see how it is because it's made by Arcane Studios, which is the same people who made the Dishonored games. And from what I've seen, it is very Dishonored.
Yeah.
It has the same style of like supernatural abilities of like blink, domino effect, where if you kill one person, if you connect a bunch of people, they all die.
Yeah.
Which is really neat. I don't know how this is gonna go though. Honest to God.
I think it's there was a point in the trailer that was really cool, where you can like shoot a vending machine and a bunch of cans fall out. You can like make people trip on them if they're chasing you.
Really? I didn't even see that.
Yeah, it's like some environmental interactivity stuff.
And I think that I remember in Dishonored 2 they were really toying with that idea.
Mm-hmm.
And even in Prey, because they also made Prey the new or the 2017 version.
Yeah.
Which I love. I absolutely adore. And they always have this idea of looking around the environment, actually figuring out how you can toy with these objects to the best of your own ability, to your advantage. And from what I've seen of Deathloop, especially with that vending machine stuff, because of, the new next-gen hardware, I really think that they are toying with these new ideas in a next-gen way. And I'm super excited for that.
Yeah,
I'm always excited to see how it goes, especially because one last thing that I would like to mention about Deathloop is the fact that it looks like it has a PvP mode that is just kind of hardwired into the game. Basically, in this game, you are a hitman, and apparently there's a hitman also on this island in this Deathloop whose target is you. So, and it is also another player who is playing that hitman. So every now and then you'll just be doing your game, and then all of a sudden this rival hitman will just show up, and it could be someone who could no scope you. I'm scared. I'm so terrified to just have a Call of Duty sniper rifle with 360 no scope on me, and it ends my run.
I hope it's optional, but if it isn't, then oh well, I guess.
Yeah, I'm curious how it's gonna go, especially because from what they also mentioned, it sounded like these rivals not only do they like attack you, they do have the option of helping you out, which I don't understand. There is so much about it where I'm like, I think I understand it, and then they say this person can help you out too, and immediately I'm like, okay, I'm lost again. What do you mean by that?
Well, just because they're a rival doesn't mean they have to be an enemy all the time.
I don't know what that means though. I don't know, because rival is rival. It'd be like in Dark Souls, the people in PvP just kind of are like, yeah, all right, I'll fight the boss with you.
No, like,
do they do that?
Well, no, as soon as you enter a fog door for a boss, they have to leave. But like sometimes people just like ignore you and just follow you around and give you moral support because they can't attack the enemies.
I don't get it, man. I don't know what this is going to be like. I'm curious how it's going to go because, again, we don't know too much, and it's coming out in, I kid you not, 4 days. Mm-hmm. I'm curious how it's going to go. I'm curious to see the reviews, and if they are good enough, I might get it. I'm really excited to see what they do because Arcane is one of my favorite studios from Bethesda.
Well, if I do get it, I'm gonna have to get it physically because I'm running out of storage.
Yeah, I need to figure out how to get something for my PS5 soon and quick.
I mean, I got my 4 terabyte drive for I think only $100.
Really?
Yeah.
Lucky. Well, anyway, we are actually getting a little bit closer to getting near the end of this. We were thinking about mentioning Forspoken, which was a Square Enix game, but in a certain way I've been thinking about it. Is there a lot to really talk about?
I mean, no, not really. I mean, it's definitely made on the Final Fantasy 15 engine, which, I mean, that game looked gorgeous for its time and still holds up with 2016.
For the most part, I'd say.
Yeah, especially the landscapes. So this game seems to be all environmental, looking cool.
It does seem like it's going for that aspect, which I'm very excited to see. But in a certain way, I don't know too much, and I personally have been a little bit more on an exhausted run with Square Enix.
Yeah, we'll have to see how it turns out, but
we'll have to see where it goes because there is still not enough to really
say much about it.
Even though there has been enough. But I was thinking that we should talk about the last game that was revealed. This one, for all people who are playing through God of War or plan on playing through watching or playing through the story of God of War, 2018, right?
Yeah, 2018.
Yeah, 2018, the newest one. I would recommend that.
Hey, you skip to 4240 if you don't want to get
spoiled.
About to be
announced because there will probably be heavy spoilers. So throughout all of this, I'm just gonna say you can exit out or skip to a certain time. We might have that on the YouTube link. Just kind of putting on there hey, go over here to go to the next part.
Yeah, we'll do that.
But the next game that we are talking about is one that made me scream because I was so excited. God of War Ragnarok. Oh my gosh, this looks so good. And they knew exactly what they were doing when it was at the end of the showcase.
Mm-hmm.
What would you want to talk about for this game?
I mean, it's kind of following a similar formula to the older series of God of War.
Really?
Where it's got very similar gameplay.
Okay.
To the former game, because if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
The former game, God of War, was just, it had some of the greatest combat, and it still does when it comes to one of those over-the-shoulder third-person action games.
Mm-hmm.
I played it just recently again, just a little bit, and I forgot how good the punches, the swings of the axes are. Every single thing just feels so great. It has so much emphasis and oomph to every swing and punch. You really feel like Kratos. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Let's see. Well, what I was excited about is that they revealed what Thor sounds like.
Thor sounds great. I actually love the voice actor for Thor, and I love the design of Thor too.
Yeah, he actually looks more accurate to what he'd look like in mythology, unlike the modernized version where the best example would be Chris Hemsworth in the MCU, where he's like this super ripped, just
hey, they got him right
massive dude.
They got him right near the end of
in Endgame.
Endgame, because he's got that beer belly.
Yeah,
like nobody's business.
Yeah. So yeah, he's got a pretty cool design, and Ragnarok, they revealed that on Twitter.
I would also like to mention that I'm really excited to see Atreus' story. Just because he's got a deeper voice. It seems like he's a teenager now. It's been years since God of War 4, 2018, whatever you want to call it. And at this point, he's starting to take command a little bit more than before. He's hunting deers without Kratos. He's becoming more and more like his father, but I'd say the good aspects. And he's also really starting to go into that idea of, and here's the spoiler, what his name means, because his mother wanted to name him Loki, which is insane because, whoa, bombshell.
Yeah.
I don't know what this is going to mean, especially because at the end they also predicted that Kratos is going to die
at some point.
We have no idea. It could be this game. It could be the next game. We have no idea, and I'm really excited because we also have Freya chasing them down.
Yeah, because Kratos killed her son in the previous game. She
Baldur
swore to I think it was something along the lines of drag his body through the 9 realms and make him suffer.
Can you imagine because I'm going to take a guess that it's going to be another one-shot game. Can you imagine they have a one-shot of him getting dragged through all 9 realms?
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know. If Kratos dies, I mean, he's come back in almost every other game.
Who knows? Maybe he'll get back in from Helheim, something like that. We have no idea, and in a certain way, we could go back to Helheim and maybe see Baldur. Wouldn't that be wild?
Yeah, and also another thing is that the Norse god of war showed up in the trailer.
Tyr, wasn't it?
Yeah, Tyr. He was mentioned in the first game, and people thought he was dead.
Lots of people.
Yeah. So they're like, oh, well, he's dead, so whatever. No, he isn't. He's alive.
I don't know how Atreus and Kratos just keep getting in these wacky adventures, but they straight up found Tyr, the person who should be dead. That is absolutely wild to think that they just... That's an average day for them. It's just... We see villagers throughout, We've seen them in, the trailers and everything. Some people who are just common folk in this, Norse mythology world. Can you imagine?
I think that's...
just seeing, Thor and Freya and Kratos just being like, all right, we found Tyr.
Yeah. That's, I think that was Svartalfheim, which is the dwarf world.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm really hoping that we get to see Asgard, too.
I don't know. I think if there's going to be another game, they'll hold out until then to show us Asgard.
I bet Asgard, yeah, that could always be the final world of the entire. I'm wondering if this is going to be a trilogy or Wouldn't it be something? Okay, I have a prediction. What if they do have Kratos throughout the entire thing? By the end of this trilogy, if they have a trilogy, that's when Kratos dies, and then the next God of War, that's when we start taking control of Atreus, aka Loki.
Maybe. I don't know.
I have no idea what this is.
Then again, this is also subtitled Ragnarok, which is the end of the world in Norse myth. So,
I also wanted to mention, on the cover art, they actually released the cover art for Ragnarok, which they haven't released, like, when this game should be coming out.
Uh-huh.
And I have no idea why, because it seems like everything has been, like, almost finalized. I mean, they have such a great way of presenting God of War every single time, because it always looks like, oh yeah, it should be close to done. And oh my gosh, I saw the World Serpent.
Oh yeah.
In there.
Yeah.
And I'm curious what's going to happen, because technically Loki is technically the father
of Jormungandr, and then it gets sent back in time.
So, like, Atreus, what's going on, buddy? How's this happening?
Either that or Loki is the snake's mother, which he can do that. So,
Atreus, what you doing there?
What you doing?
What
buddy?
you doing there, buddy?
Yeah, yeah. So God of War Ragnarok. That's the thing we're most excited about, I think.
Yeah, I have no idea. I've been looking through everything like, oh, this is gonna be so good, because, like we've mentioned before with Freya, that whole thing of like dragging the body, Kratos' body through the nine realms.
She pretty much just said, like, I'm gonna kill you, and it's gonna take a while.
She had a full monologue, and I will say this, that was probably the greatest moment in video game history. Like, when I saw that, I was like, I will never forget that monologue. Like, what it was like, because that was cold-blooded.
Yep, it really makes you feel like a mother who just had her son killed by some guy.
I love that game. I think that I should download it again and just start playing through it, because I forgot how much I love God of War.
I mean, I have it on mine, so you can, like, play it whenever.
But we gotta get on the 4K TV. They just got the PS5 upgrade.
Oh, yeah, right.
Anyway, I think that's probably the end of talking about the showcase. I am so excited. I think that this was a fantastic showcase to get excited for. But I was thinking that we should get into the final part, which is the Game of the Week.
Random Game of the Week.
Random Game of the Week. Max got on his phone, got it on one of those little random pickers, and we got all sorts of games. And what is the game that was chosen for this week?
We got Yakuza Zero.
Yakuza Zero. Oh my gosh. This game, if you haven't heard about it, that's understandable. But you should be hearing about it.
It's the game, if you have no idea what a Yakuza is, what a Kazuma Kiryu is, it's the game that Dame Dane song came from.
Don't do that to us.
Yeah,
Don't do that to us.
Yeah, I'm just letting people know if they know nothing else about it.
Okay, so Yakuza Zero, it is one of the greatest crime drama games out there. If you think that it's GTA, you're wrong, because Yakuza Zero is probably one of my favorite games from Sega. I'm trying to figure out how to describe it in the best way. Do you have a good way to describe this one?
So, what I describe it as, it's kind of like a weird spiritual successor to Shenmue, first of all. And
it's
also,
better, though.
Yeah, it's way better than Shenmue. And also those old, like, River City games, like River City Ransom.
It reminds me of Streets of Rage, honestly.
Yeah,
with
that too. Like, yeah, you go around a city, you beat up people who cross you, and then you can also, like, stop at shops to eat or whatever, refill health.
So basically, this game, you are part of the Yakuza. I mean, that's pretty
obvious.
explanatory, yeah. But pretty much, it's an RPG where pretty much you're going on the streets of Kamurocho, which is one of the red light districts of Japan.
It's a fictional red light district.
You're right.
Yeah.
But pretty much you're just going around the streets, and it's just like an RPG where all of a sudden these snot-nosed jerks will be like, all right, I'm gonna beat up Kazuma Kiryu, which is the protagonist of this tale, the dragon of the Dojima clan.
Well, in Yakuza Zero, he's not the dragon of Dojima.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's right. That's for a later thing. But pretty much you go into those battles, and it's not like a typical RPG where you're doing turn-based. You do the beat-em-up style, much like those River City Ransom games or Streets of Rage, in a 3D fashion. And I love it because of that. I think that's a fantastic, neat idea, especially because to level up your character, you don't use experience points, you use cash.
Yeah, because this is a feature exclusive to Zero. Because of the massive economic bubble Japan was in the 80s, there's just a massive overflow of cash. So, like, you finish one fight and you can get like 500,000 yen from it. And that's just like a drop in the bucket eventually.
Oh my gosh, when you get into this one thing, the oh my gosh, why am I blinking on his name?
Mr. Shakedown?
Mr. Shakedown, yes! So this guy, he is like the ultimate like boss on the streets, where you'll see a money counter on the top of his head, and if you get taken out, he takes all of your money. Or if you win that fight, you take all of his money.
Also, just hitting him gives you money.
Just hitting him gives you get money. And it's a very tough fight. Extremely tough if you don't know how the fighting works. But the coolest thing is this guy, he's kind of a dumb guy. And every now and then you'll find him just kind of on the streets taking a nap, like in a park, on a park bench or something like that.
And then you can just like take his money while he sleeps.
And it's kind of a mini game where you kind of have to like make sure he doesn't wake up as you're taking it all. And if he wakes up, immediately you have to fight him. And hopefully you know how to fight him, because all of your money is going to be gone. So, I mean, there's so much to it, where there's a crime drama which is so serious but so enticing. I mean, it is so good what they have.
Yeah, there's another thing to mention. As you go through the chapters, every other chapter you switch to another character.
Majima.
Yeah, Goro Majima in Sotenbori, which is another fictional district in Osaka, Japan.
He runs a cabaret, and he's just an all-around gentleman.
Yeah, and he wants to, he got kicked out of the Yakuza for a spoiler reason, and he wants to get back in, so he's willing to pretty much do anything.
Yeah, he's just kind of the lapdog for some of the Yakuza bigwigs. And the biggest thing that I would also like to mention, it has a fantastic story, but if you really don't want to get into the story and just want to do the wacky stuff, they have stupid side stories and weird mini games. You can go bowling and get a chicken
as your manager.
As your manager for real estate stuff. Or is it for bowling?
It's for the bowling.
Is it really bowling? Okay.
The real estate chicken is in Like a Dragon.
Oh, okay, my bad. Anyway, there's so many. I just realized we are debating where chickens are in certain mini games.
I had to correct Mike on which chicken was which in
that is series. Absolutely wild. What is going on with this game series?
Yeah, there's a ton of different cool side stories. I mean, some of them are actually genuinely emotional. Some of them are just really funny. And it just all works, even though the main story is this super serious, hard-boiled stuff.
Okay, yeah. Sorry, it's starting to look like everything's starting to lock down over here. So I think that we've talked a lot about Yakuza Zero, but I recommend playing that game, and I think that we have actually gone through and talked about what we want to talk about.
Yeah.
So join us next week for whatever we're going to be talking about, and I think that we are going to get video up soon. So stay tuned to see what happens next on Level Up Chips. See you next week.